We've spent the base of the pyramid testing pieces in isolation. But some things only break when the pieces meet. Routing, model binding, the request pipeline, your handler, and the database, all wired together. That's the middle tier, integration tests. And in ASP.NET you get a fantastic tool for it, WebApplicationFactory, which boots your entire application in memory and lets you call it with a real HTTP client. No ports, no network, just the whole stack, end to end. Let's post a to-do and get it back. What does an integration test actually cover that a unit test can't? The seams. WebApplicationFactory boots your real application in process, the real routing, the real model binding, the real mediator pipeline, your real handlers, the real DbContext. Then it hands you an ordinary HTTP client, but one with no sockets and no ports. The request travels your entire stack in memory. And underneath, instead of the production database, we swap an SQLite running in memory. Still real SQL, still real entity framework, just fast and disposable. So you're testing the wiring itself, the part where a typo in a route, a bad serializer, or a broken mapping actually shows up. Here's the fixture, and it's the whole trick. We inherit from WebApplicationFactory of Program, so it boots the exact same app your users run. Then we make one surgical change. We keep an in-memory SQLite connection open for the lifetime of the test. And in Configure Web Host, we replace the database provider, pointing the app's DbContext at that SQLite connection, with Trellis's interceptors still wired in. Everything else, your real startup, your real pipeline, is untouched. This is the same seam we saw in episode 1. Flip an environment variable, and the very same tests run against a real database instead. Same app, swap provider. That's the entire setup. And here's the test it enables. We ask the factory for an HTTP client authenticated as a specific actor, user1, with permission to create and read todos. Then we post a new to-do and assert we got a 201 created. We read the response body, grab the new ID, and immediately get that ID back, asserting a 200 OK and that the title round trips exactly. Think about everything that just got exercised. Routing, model binding, authorization, the create handler, the value object validation, the save to SQLite, and the read back out. One readable test, and the entire request pipeline is under test, the way a real client actually uses it. Let's run them for real. This is the actual API test project, 74 tests, every one of them booting the app and driving it over HTTP, backed by in-memory SQLite. Watch the clock, the entire integration suite, create, read, validation, idempotency, authorization, the whole pipeline, finishes green in a couple of seconds. That's the payoff of in-memory integration testing. You get the confidence of a real end-to-end request at very nearly the speed of a unit test, so you can actually afford to run them on every push. So where do these fit? Use them deliberately for the things only a full request can prove: that the route binds, that the actor is authorized, that the payload serializes, that the handler actually reaches the database and back. You write fewer of these than unit tests, because each one does a lot more work. That's the shape of the pyramid. And the beautiful part, the thing we keep coming back to, because the only change is the database provider, the very same integration test can run in memory for speed on every commit, or against a real database when you want the real thing. One test, 2 levels of fidelity. Next time, we get strict about the HTTP contract itself. That's the middle tier. WebApplicationFactory boots your whole application in memory. A real HTTP client drives it end-to-end, and in-memory SQLite keeps it fast, so you can test the wiring that unit tests never touch and still run on every push. Post, get, and the entire pipeline in between, proven. Next time, we hold that pipeline to the actual standards, testing HTTP by the RFCs, problem details, the right status codes, and e-tags. Subscribe, and I'll see you there.